2013 class to be inducted into the Metamora Township High School Athletic Hall of Fame. The MTHS Athletic Hall of Fame serves to recognize those players, coaches, and other outstanding individuals that have achieved noteworthy accomplishments during and after their times at MTHS. It will also recognize teams that have achieved extraordinary results. This year, we have 5 individuals entering the Hall of Fame. Teams will be inducted beginning in 2014. Our first inductee this evening is Jenny Garber. Jenny starred in 2 sports at MTHS, graduating in 1986. As a senior, she averaged 26 points per game on the basketball court, leading her team to a record of 22-2. She was named first team all-conference all 4 years in basketball and 3 years in softball. In college, Jenny was named an All-America performer at ICC while playing for a team that finished second in the national tournament. She went on to captain her team at Virginia Tech as a senior while leading the team in scoring. After her senior year in college, Jenny was named the Blacksburg, Virginia Female Athlete of the Year in 1991. Jenny wants to thank all of the coaches who played integral roles in her development as an athlete and a person, including Eldon Zobrist in junior high, and Coach Tepke and Coach Garber in high school. Metamora High School is proud to welcome Jenny Garber to the MTHS Athletic Hall of Fame. Next up, please welcome class of 2004 graduate, Tara Tepke Ballard.
All you have to do is put in the Dunlap player.
Tara's high school accomplishments came in 3 different sports as she excelled in softball, volleyball, and basketball. She earned 12 varsity letters at MTHS and was named first team all-conference a staggering 10 times. Tara was the rare athlete who was talented enough to be named Peoria Journal-Star Player of the Year in 2 different sports, winning the award in both volleyball and softball. To cap off her high school career, Tara was named the 2004 Greater Peoria Sports Hall of Fame Female Athlete of the Year. In college, Tara focused on basketball and volleyball. She was an All-American performer twice in volleyball and a member of a national championship ICC basketball team. She concluded her college career by starring in volleyball at Winthrop University and ending her senior year 6th in Division I in total aces. We are fortunate to have Tara on staff at MTHS as both a teacher and a coach. Metamora High School is proud to welcome Tara Tepke Ballard to the MTHS Athletic Hall of Fame. Next up, please welcome 1986 MTHS graduate Dan Hargis. Dan was a star 3-sport athlete competing in football, basketball, and baseball. He earned 3 letters in each sport and was named all-conference in all 3. He is still the all-time home run leader in MTHS history with 32. Defensively, he was an intimidating catcher, throwing out over 50% of would-be base stealers during his varsity career. In college, Dan won the conference triple crown for batting average, home runs, and RBIs. He was the Mid-Continent Conference Player of the Year during his last year at Eastern Illinois University. He was drafted by the Montreal Expos in the 5th round and played 3 years in the Expos system before retiring from baseball in 1992. Dan would like to thank his wonderful high school coaches, in particular Bob Schlemmer, Randy Tepke, and Rich Kaler, for helping him excel as a 3-sport athlete. Tonight, please help us congratulate Dan Hargis. Welcome to the Metamora Township High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Please welcome a 1993 graduate of MTHS, Heather Hoffman-Jenkins. Heather was a star golfer at MTHS before girls golf was an officially recognized Mid-Illini Conference sport. Since there was no girls' conference tournament, she participated in the boys' tournament. During her junior year, she defeated every male golfer to win the 1991 Mid-Illini Boys Golf Championship. She was named All-State all 4 years in high school, finishing 2nd in the state meet twice, 3rd once, and 7th once. Heather also had great success in the Peoria area, capturing the Peoria Women's City Championship 3 times. She went on to star at Northwestern University, earning all Big Ten honors twice. 4 years ago, she became the first women's golfer inducted into the Northwestern University Athletics Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Heather, on your fabulous achievements on the links, and welcome to the Metamora Township High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, these 4 individuals have had profound impacts on Metamora Township High School. Please join me once again in congratulating them on being inducted into the MTHS Athletic Hall of Fame. And fans, we will have one more inductee announced, and that'll happen during the opening varsity warm-up. Thank you. Promised, our final inductee is 1981 MTHS graduate Pat Ryan. Coach Ryan is currently in his 24th season as the head football coach at MTHS. During this time, the accomplishments Metamora has achieved are hard to believe. Pat's teams have captured 18 Mid-Illini titles, won 49 playoff games, played in 7 state championship games, and won 2 state titles in 2007 and 2009. In the last 19 years, Metamora's conference record is an eye-popping 122-6. This sustained excellence has allowed Metamora to be widely considered one of the top public school football programs in Illinois. Pat's dedication and loyalty to his school are easy to see. He has demanded much of his athletes and teams, but he has been willing to give far more to help them be successful. Coach Ryan has also been the assistant track coach for 25 years and is in his 27th year of teaching at MTHS. His passion and love for Metamora are examples for all teachers and coaches to follow. Thank you, Coach Ryan, for your many years of sustained excellence. We hope there are many more to come. Welcome to the Metamora Township High School Athletic Hall of Fame.
The administration and the Board of Education would like to welcome you to our 2013 open house for our Hall of Fame inductees. This is an opportunity to hear from the inductees and just be followed by a time of fellowship just out here in the hallway and across into the courtyard area. When we developed this program to recognize this class's accomplishments and through individual conversations with them, a theme of family developed for any coach or athlete to be successful. And with the long hours associated with athletics, there are many times that families are shortchanged. And we know that success often starts with a strong support structure from the family. And I would ask those families of the inductees to stand at this time and be recognized for your tireless support and sacrifice over the years. So if you're a family member, would you please stand? Whether it's in coaching or as an athlete, there are countless hours, and the support of family is invaluable. We also know that research consistently shows students who are involved in extracurriculars activities develop self-discipline, leadership skills, and can work as a team. For all those young people you have worked with who cannot be here, I thought it would be important that someone spoke for them. You may never know how many lives you have changed for the positive, but you have. And I would like to extend a thank you on their behalf. So thank you to those people that you've coached, worked with, or now in your adult life are influencing because of your involvement in athletics. So let's take a moment, and I just want to thank you for that. I also need to thank some people. This has been a tremendous amount of help to me to be able to put this weekend on to honor our inductees, and I need to thank some people. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee, Kelly Willard, Rhonda Danner, Lily Dale, Luann DeBolt, our technology staff, and our outdoor and our indoor maintenance staffs. They are responsible for the tents and the posters, the plaques and the program and numerous other aspects of this weekend. So thank you to those individuals that are here and that cannot be here as well. Now, time for our inductees, and this is one of the highlights of the weekend for me, and it's a great time to hear them speak. We're going to follow the same speaking order as we introduced you on Friday night, so that We'll give you some type of heads up of when you'll be speaking. And we know that there's an enormous amount of information that you could share with us. As I told you Friday night, we'd ask you to keep that brief and limit yourself to 5 minutes if possible. After the last speaker has been up here, I'll just come back to the podium, wrap up our afternoon, and we'll begin with the fellowship out in the courtyard. So at this time, we're going to ask Jenny Garber to come forward.
I guess I'll tip this off, but I want to first thank everybody for coming out today, and I'm just deeply humbled and honored to be inducted into this Hall of Fame. I mean, Metamora has a great tradition of athletes, and just to be honored is something special for me. Especially with all the inductees this year, I'm honored to be in this class, especially with Dan, who's a classmate of mine. From way back when. We won't say how long ago. But just really appreciate this honor. I want to shout out to my parents, Bob and Ruth Garber, to their 62nd wedding anniversary today. So. Get to celebrate that with them is special, and especially in this way, as Dad was inducted into the Hall of Fame last year. They have been my rock and my support all through these years. Dad was my first coach, as I would say. Many days outside in the yard playing catch or trying to teach me how to pitch. That didn't work out so well. I think he realized that after a few broken windows and throwing the ball over the house, that wasn't going to work out. But, you know, and out in the driveway shooting baskets and everything, he really instilled the practice in me to work at the game and to craft that game. My mom is a very strong woman, strongest woman I know. Sorry. She was always there for me. She knows that, she knows a lot about sports, which you wouldn't necessarily know because she doesn't put that all on you, but she knows the games, and she's very subtle about giving me direction, and very few times did she give me direction in that. She kind of let me do what I wanted to do, but you know, she does know the game, and I appreciate everything that she's instilled in me, her strength and her courage throughout the years. I want to thank my teammates, especially Janny Clem and Mick Koenig, for pushing me all those years through all the hard times and the good times, and making great memories on the field and on the court throughout the 4 years. And they're great people, and they really pushed me to be the best player that I could be. Coaches, it's incredible what they have done for me. The first one I want to thank is Eldon Zobrist for giving me my first opportunity to play organized basketball, and that was in the 5th grade on the boys team. I just remember sitting on the stage watching the first practice of the boys, 5th grade, and just watching, dreaming. You know, I loved the game of basketball even way back then. And he just came up to me and said, "You want to play?" Without hesitation. And I said, "Sure." You know, so I got out there and started playing with them. And, you know, we didn't have a girls' team back then, so that was kind of breaking the barrier a little bit. And he gave me my first start in organized basketball, and I appreciate that. Going on to high school, Coach Tepke, Coach Garber, my brother. I thank Mick and Janny for always being there in the locker room for me to vent about my brother and to cry on their shoulders after every practice. And that's one thing I'll give my credit to my mom and dad for. Every time I went home to try and complain or vent, they didn't want to hear it, you know. They left that aside. He's your coach there, he's your brother here. So I appreciate that from them. But I also want to thank my all my brothers and sisters, Sister Connie, Brent, Jim, and Steve as my family. always being there to support me, always in the stands, and it was always great to see family up there watching, and always behind me and traveling to wherever I was. So that was always a great adventure. And their constant love and support is greatly appreciated. But in high school, I had an English class. I just went through a box of high school stuff that I haven't been through since I probably left here. And I found a paper that I wrote, a composition paper, and it was a contrast paper. And what did I write about? I wrote about the differences between Coach Tepke and Coach Garber. And it was quite interesting when I read that, and I just laughed to myself because they were very different. But in their differences, they accomplished the same thing. And in one of the contrasts, I said that Coach Tepke, you know, always had fun and discipline, and we laughed a lot, and on the bus rides we could you know, listen to music, and we were probably annoyed the heck out of him being loud and obnoxious. And Coach Garber, we had no headphones, no music, no talking, silence on the bus. And but you know, in the differences of the two, they both instilled the fundamentals and the discipline that was needed to carry on into college life. They really prepared us as individuals and as players to be the best player that we can be, and kept pushing us and pushing us to be the best and get the fundamentals down first, and great things could be accomplished. So then when I went to college, I was prepared, and better than a lot of other people coming from different high schools. And I think that's a great thing about Metamora Township, is that, you know, we do have great coaches that lead you to success after here, and really help you along that way. So I really appreciate even the tutelage and the molding that Steve gave me, my brother, Coach Garber, I should say, that he likes to tell people. You know, I molded her, you know, gave her all the tools that she needed to be the woman she is today. And, you know, I just want to thank you. But all jokingness aside, that is probably pretty true. So I thank him, and I thank Coach Tepke for all that you did for me in my career. And, you know, coaches don't get a whole lot of praise for, it's so much more than the X's and O's. And maybe I might be a little biased because I'm a coach now too, but, you know, it's so much more than the X's and O's and on the field play, the wins, the losses, because that's what I don't remember the games as much. Yeah, I remember a couple of games here and there, but what I remember are the practices and the relationships built between the players, the coaches. And, you know, like at softball practice, I remember getting the hoses out and watering down mats up in the wrestling room and having sliding practice, and that being some of the funnest days of my life. I loved it, you know, being creative that way. And, you know, just the discipline in basketball with Coach Garber. He, you know, I remember the line drills, 13 in a row, line drill after line drill. No, but it really instilled the discipline in us. I remember the hard work, and always, you know, we respected Coach Tepke right out the get-go, you know, on there, and we respected him, and we knew what he was doing, and we appreciated everything he did for us in that time. Coach Garber, you know, we appreciated it, but we appreciate it a lot more now that he instilled in us the hard work and the dedication and the discipline and the fundamentals of the game. And I do have a lot of teammates come back to me and always say that it was hard going through it at the time, but that hardship and everything and that toughness, that tough love, really instilled a lot into us. But with both of them, you know, it's two different styles, but they accomplished the same thing and had great success. And that's what I hope you all realize, how many great coaches you have here at Metamora Township, and the tradition still lives on, and it's about the relationships and everything that they do for your kids, and everything like that. So I appreciate it. I thank you. Thank you to the committee. Thank you for administration. Thank you to all of you for coming out today. It's a great honor. Thank you.
All right, our next speaker will be Tara Ballard.
For those of you who were in attendance last year, don't worry, I'm not going to go on and on and on and on like my dad did last year. So just want to make that clear. First of all, I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for choosing me for this honor and for setting everything up. This weekend has been a really great experience. My husband did tell me this morning, though, that he is the greatest achievement I have ever accomplished, though, in my life. So that received a pretty big eye roll, though. But anyway, and congratulations to the other 4 honorees. I was actually named after Dan. My middle name is Danielle, and now I get the joy of coaching his daughter, Megan, which is a joy because she is quite the athlete and quite the character all the time at practice. She always makes me laugh. Jenny, I always grew up hearing what a great athlete you were. Pat, I had as a teacher. And now I have a tremendous amount of respect for him as I'm pursuing my own coaching career and just all the success that he has, but yet he's still always so humble and so supportive of other programs. Heather, I actually hadn't met her before this weekend, but I got a good laugh out of reading her bio when it said that she won the men's all-conference tournament. I thought that was awesome. I love that. And now I just want to say that I'm forever grateful to my parents and all my family just for their endless love and support throughout the years. I cannot remember a single high school game. There might have been one, but I can't remember a single high school game that I didn't have someone there cheering me on and supporting me. My mom still comes to Canton, even though I'm the coach, and it takes an hour to get to Canton, and the game sometimes lasts 20 minutes, but she still comes. So that's dedication. But thank you for traveling across the United States to watch me play volleyball, for driving me around all over for games, for practices, and for sitting through 100-degree softball weather weekend after weekend. But I can't say thank you enough. I also had the privilege of being coached by some of the finest coaches in the area, my dad being one of the first. Although growing up I didn't realize what a great coach he actually was. Now I can appreciate all of his talents, but he taught me how to use this big old booty back here to use it as a weapon and box people out, which it was pretty effective for me. He also taught me how to be aggressive, throw a softball, and how to suck it up. That was his biggest phrase that he loved to use with me, but I think I've become a lot tougher for it. Coach Bartman is one of the most intense coaches I've ever played for. She taught me how to work hard, and she taught us all how to win. I never wanted to be caught fiddle farting around or at a ladies' aid party. She has some of the weirdest, funniest sayings, and it just cracks me up all the time. But she genuinely cares about every single one of her players, and I've really been learning a lot. She's kind of taken me under her wing in the volleyball program, so I've learned how to be a better coach. Coach Wainman was like a mother figure, and don't worry, Mom, I didn't need another mother figure, but she was very motherly, and she worked us hard. We had to run a lot of Becky's, the dreaded Becky, and she also taught us how to have fun, aka she literally made us gobble, 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 gobble at Thanksgiving practices, and even though we all hated it and rolled our eyes when we had to do it, I always remember that. But she also taught us the importance of being a team and also being a good teammate. But those two wonderful women not only helped develop me as an athlete, but also as a person, and they both continue to be my mentors today, so thank you very much. But I may have to take back what I said about Bartman being the most intense coach I've ever played for, because I also had Kurt Ryan. And I will never forget how far his vein popped out of his forehead and how much spit came out of his mouth in the Dunlap locker room. I have no idea what we were actually getting yelled at about, but man, he was mad. But the thing that I love most about him is his passion, and I think almost every player that has played for him would also, they definitely know what I'm talking about. And also, I was kind of focusing on my high school coaches, but I also played for Coach Garber, and that was definitely one of the best experiences, getting to play for him and playing for a very different group of girls. It was a lot of fun, and I'll always have those memories, so thank you, Mr. Garber. But thanks again, coaches, for all you've done and continue to do for me. You all poured so much heart and soul into my teammates and I hope I had the same positive influence that you had on me on my players. But one player is never going to win you a game, and I was really, really, really lucky to have some incredible young women to play with here at the high school. They were competitive, they were talented, they were athletic, they worked really, really hard, and they also knew how to have fun. Some of my favorite memories come from spending time with them on and off the field. And even though a lot of us don't necessarily stay in much contact or we're not that close anymore, they'll always have a special place in my heart. Who else can I share memories with of running through volleyball cones or gobbling at Thanksgiving practice or finding Easter eggs or snowballs at the softball field? But all of the blood, sweat, and tears bonded us in a way that definitely cannot be broken. But I also want to thank all the fans in the Metamora community. We've always had such great support, and it was a blast getting to play here and now getting to coach here. So thank you, and again, thank you to the committee and for my family and friends and everyone who came out today. So thank you very much.
Our next speaker will be Dan Hargis.
All right, Tara, you make sure time me, make sure I don't act like your dad, okay? I'm gonna get this taken care of. First of all, I really want to thank all the people in the community of Metamora. As far as I'm concerned, there's no better town to be a part of, to play. The support is just amazing in Metamora, and that's something that no matter where the kids from Metamora that play here, they move away, they'll always remember that. They'll always check up on what's going on. I mean, even when I played professional baseball, I was always trying to find a way to get on the internet and find out what was Metamora football doing that week. I mean, you're always paying attention to what's going on. I want to thank the committee, the high school, all my teachers. It's amazing how, again, the community and how people take care of you. This class, I'm very honored to be a part of this class because I actually, three of the four other people in this class I have ties to. Not many people know it, but I knew Pat Ryan as a coach before he ever stepped into this high school. People don't realize it, but when I was a kid, Pat Ryan coached a group of kids from their block over on the other side of Metamora against the block of kids from Eastmore Drive, and we had a lot across the street, and we played football. And the old J.C. Penney catalogs, you could get all the football uniforms and the pads that weren't regulation. We didn't care. So Pat coached these kids up, and they brought them over and played against us, and this is where I got really into football and the love of it. So I could see right then, it was amazing to see how he could figure out, even when little kids playing in the backyard, he understood how the game worked. And that was just amazing to me. Tara Tepke, not many people realize, and again, we talked about, I had the honor of Randy and Sandy naming her middle name after me, which I still, it amazes me. But I've been very close to those guys. I held Tara when she was a baby, when she was little and I was a senior in high school. And to think that I touched greatness before it ever became great was amazing to me. So, Jenny, on the other hand, Jenny was, not many people realize, but I played against Jenny in grade school. And the funniest thing I love about that is because nobody wanted to guard Jenny because she was a girl. And it wasn't because she was a girl, because they were afraid to get beat by her, because she was that good. I mean, you could see greatness in Jenny when we first started, that she'd make boys look sick. And you just knew it was going to happen. I mean, it was just a matter of time, and depending on what sport she wanted to go in. That's how talented she was. So And again, Heather, I never got a chance. I really enjoyed speaking with her the other night, because really it was the first time, because she was quite a bit younger than I, and as Jenny and I figured out as we were sitting on the float on Friday talking about me hanging on to Tara when she was a baby. And Jenny looked at me and says, "Great, Dan, you just told them how old we are." I was like, okay, now I'm starting to figure it out. But the coaches, I can't thank the coaches enough. I mean, Randy, he was like a father figure to me. I mean, he really, I wasn't always the best kid. He knew it. I caused trouble a little bit. He was always able to keep me under control, so my dad and mom didn't ever have to hear about it. And you know, Rich Kaler, you know, some of you, I'm sure a lot of you know Rich, some of you don't. He was a great coach. Enjoyed playing for Rich. I wish he'd let us pass the ball more. Pat, I'm going to talk to Pat now, but you know, I always wanted to throw the ball because I could throw it. Well, that's not Metamora football, so that's just the way it was. So, but I really enjoyed playing for him. John Helmick, I wish John was here today, because John made a huge difference in my life, because as a freshman, I was hurt, had to have surgery, and didn't get to play my freshman year of football, and it just about killed me. I begged him. You know, here I am got stitches in my arm, staples in my arm, and I'm in a sling, and I'm begging him, just let me kick off. And he's like, yeah, who'll be the first one down to make the tackle? Yeah, I will be. So, you know, but he kept me involved, and he had me signaling in plays my freshman year on the football field for varsity. I signaled in the offensive plays, which kept my mind in the game. And it built that love for football that I enjoyed till the end of high school. So, you know, I really enjoyed playing for John. Bob Schlemmer, I don't know what else to say about Bob. So you're all laughing, you know. Bob taught me, and I try and instill it in kids today, if you think coaches are tough on you now, just wait till you go to the next level. And wait till you go to the level after that, if you ever get to that level, because it's child's play around here. And these are the greatest coaches ever. And they're trying to develop you and get you to understand what it takes and where you have to be. Well, Schlemmer got me to that level real fast. Okay, he used to chew me for fun, and you know what? I'm a better person for it, because when I went on to college, if my college coach looked at me, I just smiled at him. My pro coaches, they did the same thing. I see you guys don't compare to Bob Schlemmer. You just don't, you know. But I'll tell you what, he taught me a lot, and I owe a lot to Bob for where I am today. My family, my mom and dad, bless their heart, they're no longer with us. They were always there for me. I don't think I kind of laugh, and then everybody always asked, you know, my dad would sit up in the stands, and he'd always hear people say, when is the Hargis kid leaving? Is he not graduated yet? And I don't know whether that was because of him or because of me. I think it might have been more of him being in the stands yelling at me. So now I understand my poor kids, what they went through, because from what I do. I'm getting better. I'm kind of getting away from the coaching, and I'm trying to sit back farther away from them. Now you'll find me usually out in center field somewhere out beyond the fence, and that helped. But as far as my parents, I love them both. My immediate family, brothers, sisters, Lori, Lisa, Doug, they were always there for me. They couldn't be here today. Lori can be, I appreciate that. But I didn't, like I say, if it wasn't for my older brother, he taught me about what it takes to get to that next level, because he was there. I mean, he played at U of I, played baseball, he walked on. But he knew what it took to get to that next level. So I was smart enough, at least smart enough to do that, to sit down and listen to him, to say, here's what it's going to take and here's what you got to do. So I had a great respect for him to get where I was. And then, of course, my sisters, they love me to death. I don't know if they ever, at least they never say anything bad about me to my face, but, well, most of the time, but they were always there for me. So I appreciate that. And then my wife and kids, love them to death. I couldn't ask for a better family.
I hope that what I've left here, that those two, and I think they will be where they need to be. I think they've learned from my beautiful wife, Wendy, what it takes to get to that next level. And I think at some point they're going to be there. So, again, I appreciate everything everybody's done, and it's an unbelievable honor for me to be up here. So, thank you.
Heather let me know several months ago, but then also again on Friday night, that she was not going to be able to be here. They are currently living in Columbus, Ohio, so they're in a car driving home. So we wish them safe travels and quick arrival. They had some coaching and other obligations tonight. So, you know, just having time with Heather on Friday with the parade, and then also at the induction ceremony at the track was great. And I too took special interest in the fact that she beat all the boys in the Mid-Illini Conference Championship in golf. That to me is just exceptional in itself. So we'll be moving on to Mr. Pat Ryan. Pat was a little preoccupied on Friday, so he hasn't gotten this yet. So congratulations, Coach.
Thanks, Jared. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Thanks for coming. I can see a lot of family members for a lot of other people, so I'll keep my speech relatively short. I did want to say one thing about Jenny Garber. I remember when she played basketball too, and I also remember when her brothers played basketball. And watching her play, and I did get a chance to see Jenny play a few times when she would drive to the basket. She wasn't left-handed, but she reminded me of her oldest brother. And she shot like Jimmy and Steve. The only part that I don't think she got from her brother, I'm pretty sure she probably got it from her dad, was her ability to pass the basketball. So I knew there was a skill there that, you know, her dad, who was a fine athlete in his own right, had passed on. So I was pretty sure that it was spread out through all those. But, you know, everybody knew about her athletically. She was one of the first big names in girls athletes. And like you say, she was kind of, the girls in my class were just kind of, it was just kind of getting going. Of course, Randy was involved in all that. He's been around a long time and watched a lot of these programs get started and been behind a lot of them. Tara, I saw Tara, the first time I saw Tara play volleyball, I was actually at an 8th grade day over at Metamora Grade School. And you know, everybody heard Tara, what a great athlete she was. I'd never really seen her play athletics. This is not an embellishment. They were playing District 50. And every time Tara went to serve, you know, most of the girls were still trying to learn. Tara did the whole, you know, put it up there and slam it thing. Every girl in District 50 went like this. And the only time they cheered was like, oh, she finally hit one out of bounds. And, you know, about the second rotation she had, there were a lot of girls that needed a timeout. Coach, I need out. But I remember that. Saw her play basketball the first time, didn't know it was her. She had mentioned that her dad had taught her a few things about basketball. I played basketball against Randy. I learned very quickly the lane is not a good place to be if Randy's in there. But Tara they were playing Canton. It was a high school game, and I just walked in the gym, and these two girls from Canton just get knocked to the floor, and I see this person like this, and she's got this look on her face. I said, oh my goodness, that's Randy Tepke. So, you know, it was fun to watch these guys. And Dan, the story I got about Dan, I knew Dan had a good arm. He said he knew about coaching, but Dan was a little ornery as a kid. Eastmore Drive, they lived on the end. And Dan was always kind of a character. But let me tell you something. He could throw a rock farther than anybody I've ever seen and scramble behind bushes faster than anybody I've seen, because I never knew who he was for a while, but he had a great arm when he was a kid. But he was always a fun guy to go through the neighborhood because he always acknowledged your presence in some way. But I also want to give him a shout out because as my son grew up, the Hargis household was always a place where my son was welcome. And they couldn't have been any more benevolent. When Sam had his diabetes, we were always scared about, you know, the first time Sam would stay overnight. And I was really nervous, and I'll never forget this. And Dan put me at ease, and we were talking about, well, if something bad would happen, and Dan would say, don't worry about it. He said, I get my dog shot all the time. It'll be fine. Just go on. That was his way of, you know, making me feel better. And, you know, Heather obviously was a tremendous athlete. I know she was a golfer, but I think her athletic prowess was much beyond that. And another girl that, you know, you just knew was a great athlete, and I'm such a bad golfer, I'm just always impressed that anybody can get good in that game, and the fact that she was so dominating in her time was very impressive. A lot of thank yous. I've been blessed with great mentors. I've been really fortunate all my life. I've had somebody to prop me up or point me in the right direction. Like Dan, I wouldn't say I was a model kid, but I always had, the good Lord's blessed me with people all along my path that have kind of propped me up and kept me heading in this direction. And you know, it's just really strange when you look back. You just feel very fortunate that you had those people. Whether it was Chuck Leonard as a mentor when we scouted. Of course, Randy's been my boss in about every capacity a boss could be, and encouraged me all through early years of coaching as an athletic director. Ken Maurer, you know, our administration has always let us coach and put enough trust in us that we never really felt like we were being micromanaged. They had enough faith and enough trust that we were going to do things. Not that we didn't make mistakes. So I've definitely made some mistakes, there's no doubt. But that kind of leadership is really important. And as you see a lot of people struggle in coaching and teaching in this day and age, the fact that I've been so fortunate to have such great people to work for is invaluable. I mean, it just, when you can come to work every day and know you can have some choices, and you don't feel like somebody's watching over your shoulder all the time, but more than willing to help you if you needed it. That's really important. My family's a sports family. You know, it's been a joy to coach with my brother for so long. It's been a joy to have my family involved. It was, you know, in every capacity, and you couldn't ask for a better place than Metamora High School. I mean, there's just no question about that. When you think of the kind of loyalty that's tied into this place, people come here and they stay. You know, Carla and I started the first year together, and think about how fast that time has gone. But people don't leave Metamora. Gene Jones, you know, the number of years that, you know, he's still involved, and they're off to another great year. Chuck Danner, who's been involved for a number of years, grew up in the neighborhood. Chuck has also been a very good mentor for me over the years. My high school coach, John Helmick. It just, you know, it goes on and on. Rich Kaler, Danny said it best. Rich was a fine guy, and I guarantee I learned some very, very valuable things about coaching and teaching from Rich Kaler. You know, it's just been a privilege. That's all I can tell you. The biggest privilege are two groups of people I don't think I could have ever worked with as fine a group of people. Starting with the coaches I've worked with over the years, you know, Tom Gunther, you know, Bob, you know, I just look at all these guys that were there early in my career. Tom Gunther basically said when we started, Pat, I know I'm going to coach a couple more years. Let's see where we're at. You know, and he was a great model for me. Tom didn't want to be a head coach. He could have been the head coach, but to have a guy like that side by side with that kind of knowledge, and of course, he went on and you know, the greatest thing about Tom is he walked off his coaching career arm in arm with arguably the best player he ever coached in a state championship game, and that's, you know, that was a neat moment to watch Tom go out that way, and well deserved. But I tell you what, it's the same now. The guys I get to work with every day now. Win, lose, or draw, it doesn't make any difference. The guys I get to coach with are truly the best guys that you could ever ask for. They're hardworking, they're great with kids, and it just makes the job easier. It's hard to stay in something for a long time. Coaching maybe is getting a little more difficult than it used to be. My job's not difficult because I feel like I've got support up top, support in the community, and a great bunch of guys to work with every day, and I'm just very privileged that way, and really just very blessed and fortunate. That's all you can say. And the athletes. You know, one guy said to me one time, he said, you know, it seems like your teams are always really disciplined, you know. How do you instill that discipline? Well, quite frankly, most of the kids that come here and join our sports clubs and start to work are already disciplined kids. They have parents that discipline their kids. You just try not to mess them up, which was a great line a friend of mine told me I went to college with in St. Louis. He called me one time. Things were going real well. He says, Pat, he says, I tell you what, he goes, I've been watching you guys. He goes, man, you've had a lot of years where you've won a lot of games. He goes, I got it figured out. He goes, just do me one favor, will you? And I said, what's that? He goes, try not to screw it up. And so I have spent a lot of time trying to make sure that we kept the torch high, and we did try to do things the right way. We made some mistakes along the way. I personally have made some mistakes along the way, but we always tried to do things. I've asked myself a lot of times, what would Chuck Leonard do in this situation? What would Randy Tepke do in this situation? What would Chuck Danner do? How would they handle this situation? And I want to give a shout out to Jared, who's been he's had to follow Randy. You know, they say never follow a legend. Jared's been great to work for as an athletic director. I mean, he's very supportive. You know, there was nobody that had kinder words to say, you know, after we started off 0-2. You know, I appreciate the hard work he puts in for all the programs. The guy's everywhere. I still don't figure out. I think he's got a clone. He's just not telling, because I don't see how he gets to all these games. But he had a good role model too, and he's taken that and ran with it. But again, anytime you get in something like this, I don't think I understand the other four, because they were tremendous athletes. Their individual accomplishments were amazing. I've just been really, really lucky and blessed that I could have a family and a community and a school and athletes and families that cared. And I guess I just want to say, I just want to try to not keep screwing this thing up, because it's a wonderful thing. Thank you very much.
Coach, you might need this. That kind of concludes our program for today. Just to take a moment and thank all of you for taking time out of your Sunday afternoon to be here. Thank you, athletes and coach, for the contributions you've made to our school, the lasting memories, and the things that we will take with us forever. We appreciate those things. Congratulations to each of you, and thank you. At this time, that concludes our time inside the auditorium. We'll step across the hallway. The courtyard will be open, and just have a time of fellowship and just enjoy family and friends, and just tell some stories. So again, thank you. Congratulations all.